Hey, 700 Club family. Good morning.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. You can't forget
it. We have Smokie Norful here. He's a Grammy Award-winning singer, gospel singer.
Let's go.
Pastor now.
Yes. That's right.
We are so honored to have you here today.
Honored to be here today. I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Tell us about your book.
Well, let's see, where do we start? First of all, it's available in stores near you, wherever you buy your books.
Shop
Awesome.
CBN.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. But I'm excited. This is actually my first book ever.
Wow.
I've never written a book. This is the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
Many years in the making. You know, you promise yourself over and over again you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And finally, with the Lord's help and a great publishing team, and we've gotten it done.
Awesome.
And it's really, you know, it's the opportunity for me to share my own personal testimonies, experiences. It's a lot of me in this book, a lot of me, a lot of my mistakes, a lot of my victories, my triumphs and trials are in this book. Mm-hmm. But it more importantly is an opportunity for me to teach people how to maximize their lives, how to get the greatest potential from God out of themselves, and to see that God has invested his treasure in them. And to take the lid off of it so that they can maximize their own potential. So
I love the title, Take the Lid Off.
Take it off.
Go into that.
Yeah.
So how that even came about was my grandmother, my great-grandmother was a very phenomenal cook. I think everybody believes their great-grandmothers or their grandmothers are the best cooks. Well, mine really was. And she was incredible at what she did. But in the process, my favorite dish was rice. Mm-hmm. And growing up down south, we liked sweet rice.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Come on, I know about that.
Yeah, you gotta have some butter and some sugar.
Yes, come on.
But in the process of learning that, one of the biggest lessons that I got out of learning how to cook rice was you never put a lid on a pot of boiling rice. And I put a lid on the top of the pot of boiling rice while we were in the process of learning, and it was a mess. I mean, it was running over the sides, boiling out. The fire was coming up, licking the sides. And so immediately, I'm like, Grandma, what do I do? What do I do? I'm in a panic. And she yells across the room, take the lid off. And I'm like, no, it's a fire. You don't understand, it's a fire. She says, take the lid off. And immediately, once I snatched the lid off, it simmered back down. It finished its cooking process. And, of course, we were able to enjoy the product on the other side. Same thing is applicable to our lives. There's so many things that are pressuring us. There's so much pressure that's building up. You got the political climate. You got the cultural climate. You got all of the changes in our social and socioeconomic climate. Just so much going on in life and in the world. And so we just need a formula. We need a strategy. We need to know and understand how to snatch the lid off of our lives so that we can settle back down into the grace of God, the goodness of God, and then continue the process so the product will be great on the other side.
Love
that analogy.
Take the lid.
Take the lid off.
Take the lid off. Come
Use
on.
that
You gotta
today.
take it
That's
off.
Good.
That's really good.
So what was the process like? You are recording artist, gospel singer, and then you go from singing to writing a book. Was it different? What was that like?
It was different.
Yeah, I bet.
Process, I'm sure.
It was different. There were a lot of similarities because, of course, it's still producing mass producing rather product to present to the world. So, and you're still rapping. For me, I'm still rapping the same message, whether it's in a song, whether it's in a sermon, whether it's in a lesson, or even in a book. It's still the message of the gospel, the message of Jesus Christ. And so, being able to present those things were foundational and fundamental. They're going to really transcend all of those barriers, those areas. But the difference, I think, in this process was that I literally had to sit down and be very, very intentionally thoughtful about events, occurrences, and circumstances of my life. And that was extremely different because I do it for sermons, so it kind of made it a little bit easier in the process. But it was a different dynamic. I had to deal with and pull up the emotional side, because people want to connect with the emotions and the passion in your words, you know. And so it's easier in a song because I also have the melodies to help me.
Oh yeah, true, yeah.
But
that leads us to our next question. So you are a pastor now.
I am.
So how did that happen too? Coming from a Grammy award-winning gospel singer to a pastor in Chicago, right?
It was in Chicago. Okay. I actually have a campus in the suburbs of Chicago, in Bolingbrook, and one in Chicago proper on the south side. Okay. So it was, that's a good question. It's like, how did this happen? God, who, me?
Yep.
You know, I had the typical Jonah experience where, I rebelled and ran and ran and ran and ran until ultimately I got to a point where I couldn't run anymore, couldn't deny what was on my life and what God had called me to do. And that's literally what I did. I just literally stepped away from the music industry for about 7 years, actually, to just focus on this side of ministry and to do what I believe now is my first priority and calling. And that's to cover God's people, to lead them. And ultimately, you know, we're here because of a yes, you know, and it wasn't an easy yes. It wasn't an easy yes. Did I say that? It wasn't an easy yes, but it was a yes nonetheless, and it's been a fruitful outcome.
Great.
It's been I've seen thousands and thousands of lives changed, souls saved. Yeah, it's really been a great journey, great process.
Yeah, thank you for telling us about that. Now,
definitely. For
this book, for those of you that get this book, what do you hope they take away from it?
Ultimately, I hope they take away the principles, the strategies to take the lid off of their lives so that they can actually glorify God and have the fruitful, abundant life that He desires for them to have. And I know that there's sometimes, first of all, we don't even realize we have a lid on until we realize we have a lid on. And so this book really points out and identifies whether or not you're in a pressure cooker or whether or not you're boiling out of control. It really shows you that. But then it also takes it a step further, and at the conclusion, I shouldn't tell you where the answers are, but always at the back of the book, there's a strategy that's necessary in order for you to do that. Well, I talk about the strategy throughout. At the end of it, you know, I really put a bow on it and give you some practical steps, because I don't want to be so spiritual and so deep and but the Lord will do it. And you leave church saying, but how? What do I do now? So I wanted to make sure that I covered the how in this book, and then, you know, in the next one, I'll go even deeper in the how.
In the next one, come on, take the lid off number 2. That's awesome. Well, before we get to a fun game that we're going to play with you, Smokie.
We have to.
This is from Jane. She's asking, is there one song of yours you feel more passionate about than any other?
No.
Okay.
Each one of them for me has been an embodiment of a season, a trial, a victory, a triumph of my life. And so all of them matter. All of them have merit. All of them, you know, have great and different meanings to me. So I can't really say that. I know everybody else has their one song, their favorite song, and it's usually the song that puts you on the map, and that's, for me, I Need You Now. Everybody wants to know. It's like, that's our favorite, but believe it or not, it's not my favorite song. I don't know that I have one. I like them. I'm pretty partial, but I like them all.
They're just like your children?
We hear that when recording artists, we get to talk to them. They always say, it's like our child. I can't choose.
Exactly. Like, which one of your children do you love the most? What?
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to play a game really quick. It's called...
I'm nervous, y'all. I'm nervous.
It's called Name Your Song! Woo! All right, are you ready?
Halfway through the week, you got this, all right?
All right. This is going to be easy for you.
We have faith in you.
Exactly. I don't know if you guys turn your volume up. You might want to turn it down or up. I mean, it's up to you.
And feel free to sing the answers. You don't have to, but feel free.
All right, first one. All right, so how it's going to go is I'm gonna say the lyrics, and then you name the song. I mean, you can sing the rest of the song. Okay. You can sing the title of the song. It's really up to you, Smokie.
Let me tell you why this is so scary and so crazy. And my music director's over here, Jason Tyson. He's dying laughing because I never know the words to my own songs. And I wrote them. Most of them I wrote.
He might need a lifeline today.
I know, right? Just come on over.
Yeah.
All right, first one. No, you got it. All right, okay. First one. The agony of being alone, fear of doing things on my own, the tests and trials that come to make me strong, the feeling of guilt, hurt, shame, and defeat. All right, come on.
The ways of trials that beat upon me, but to know, Lord, that in you I have victory. I need you now.
Come on.
Yes, you got it.
All right, good.
That was the easiest one,
So
y'all, this is a setup. You started me easy and slow. I feel what you're doing. I see what we're doing.
You guessed it. You got it. All right. You got another one here. Ready? For my life, Lord, I thank you for every victory in you I've seen and all the moments I know it was you who kept me. So I thank you for my life.
For my life, Lord, I thank you for every victory in you I've seen. That's Dear God.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, man,
no lifeline needed.
This is good. He's also going to be singing on the 700 Club, y'all.
Yes.
So, you know, this is just a warm-up. This is a warm-up for you.
And you didn't even know about it.
All right, the next one. I've
had
sins and I've had pain. My heart has been broken and my life has been strained. But in spite...
That's my first CD ever.
Really?
In spite of everything that I've been through, I still gotta say thank you.
Yes.
That just gave me chills. That's so good. All right, last one.
Last one is...
This is good then. Okay. Yeah, it's all right. You chose ones I know. I didn't set this up. I really did.
He didn't.
He didn't know about it. All right. You've been good. If I never own a mansion way out on the hills, I'll never see riches, Lord. I'll serve you still.
If I lose all my possessions and my health begins to fade, I can still say, Lord, you've been good.
Woo! Which one is that?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, let's go.
Yes, you got it.
Thank you
That was
so
much. Next time you call me, it's getting harder.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys, get his book, Smokie Norful, Take the Lid Off.
Get this book.
Really awesome.
Yes.
Serious face.
There we go. Thank you so much, Smokie.
Yes.
This was really awesome.
Appreciate it.
He's going to be on the 700 Club just a few minutes performing and having an awesome interview.
Don't miss it. We will post a link. You can
That's
watch
right.
right here on Facebook.
Bye, guys.
All right. See ya.